Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hello. Who's out there? Who's staring at me? Who's staring at me in a freakish, inappropriate way? Okay, apparently I'm in a goofy mood, so bear with me today, people. So yeah, here we go. I just had to navigate something like right as I hopped on. Hey, Michelle's here from Panama. I assume you're still in Panama. Every once in a while, I know you travel, but so Michelle, just listening, not looking at me in a freakishly inappropriate way or whatever the heck I said a few minutes ago. So, okay, cool. Well, you're married, so yes, it's appropriate. Although freakishly inappropriate, I don't know if that's okay, even for people who don't have spouses to be looking at me that way. But what can you do, you know? Yes, Panama. So here we go. So yeah, you know how it all, like, if you guys noticed my social media post about tonight's live, I had said, I have no freaking idea what the topic is. We'll figure it out, which is true. When I wrote that was a few hours ago. So now, you know, it's funny when I'm talking to people, stuff starts taking shape. Like, I have feelings about things. I sometimes I'll, you know, little pieces of awareness will come, and you know, I think about stuff, and it just, stuff kind of floats in and floats back out, and blah blah blah. You know, that's life for me, just like a lot of people. But then when there's something that has more substance to it, it starts reappearing and reappearing. Sometimes it reappears in my thoughts, sometimes it reappears in conversations, often both. And then, you know, it's, as I'm speaking, the information starts coming through, and I gain more clarity as I'm speaking with other people too. And like I said, things start taking shape. So that's kind of what happened with this. It's something I've been aware of, and it's just been taking shape over the last week or two. So, and it's hope, which is cool because, like, that's a summertime energy, like hope, inspiration, nurturing. Those are summertime energies. These are things that are more in alignment during the summertime than some of the other times, some of the other seasons. So, like with my group coaching, I'm using those for topics. So like hope is one of the topics for the first couple classes in the group coaching. So, you know, maybe it started back then. Who knows? Hey, Nancy. So like, you know, hope is on the agenda tonight, as well as on the plate for a lot of us during this time, during this season. And then you take that and you put it into the the global scale, the global scene. I mean, wow, right? Like, everybody's been freaking out about the destruction and the problems and you know, everything that's going on in the world for years now. It's just people been looking at it. Oh my God, this is falling apart. Oh my God, there's a problem. Oh no, look at what's happening. Oh, this is horrible. Oh my God. And, you know, I mean, of course, I've been trying to, you know, I'll try to dabble in and help a little bit here and there when I can, or express my perspective or other opinions, whatever. but like I'm not leaning in and getting overcome by it because I know it's a game. It's not real. It's just, and I mean, I don't like, I don't like the way the system is set up. Like, it's, to me, it's set up to fail. It's like, it's a pyramid scheme. Everything goes upward, and now it's gone about as upward as it can, and it's not. And more people are suffering, and then they'll say, okay, enough with this, and then stand up and create something new. And that's what I see us doing. But I just see it really taking a new turn as of late. And spiritually speaking, I've been talking about anchoring into our spirituality for years now, I'd say at least 3 years, something like that. Somewhere around 3 years, I've been talking like, this is a big thing. We need to anchor in. We need to anchor in. We need to anchor in. And I think that people have been doing that. They're expanding on their spirituality. More people getting on the spiritual path. They're, really trying to do their work to the best of their ability, which is wonderful. So I feel that, are we done with that? No, we're not done. We have to continue anchoring in. However, I feel that we've kind of hit a point where enough people are doing that it's causing progress. Like the spiritual. See, this is what happens as I've been kind of paying attention, kind of not, for the last 18 years of this. Like, just being involved in spirituality, it's like being involved in anything. Like, if you're involved in baseball, if you love baseball, you're going to see the changes of the game, right? Oh, well, there was the era of the big hitters, and then it turned into the pitching, and then like whatever, so you're going to see changes in whatever interests you. This interests me. So I see I see changes in the spiritual teachings, and the way people perceive spiritual information. I see patterns in that stuff, and I see shifts. And I'm seeing that it feels like we hit a ground of anchoring into our spirituality enough where, like I said, do we stop now? No, we have to still keep doing that. But we're doing it well enough where the teachings are or the lessons are trying to transcend into kind of a different thing. And what I see us transitioning into is a focus on creating a new paradigm. And this is what I want to talk about today. It's the hope for a new future. And I want to talk about it because, I mean, even me, like being so involved in this stuff, it's not always easy, especially with all the noisy stuff happening in the world, and how little attention the positive stuff gets. It's amazing. It's amazing that the amount of good that's going on in the world and how few people know about it is kind of mind-boggling. There is so much good in the world. And, and I highly recommend anybody that I recommend anybody that hears this, please search for things. Search. Okay. A lot of times I have searched, and I still do search sometimes, but at this point, my news feeds and the people that I'm exposed to in my life is so around spirituality that I kind of come across this stuff fairly regularly anyway. So I don't need to feed it as much. People in more developed countries, I think that, or on a spiritual path, I think we need to seek this stuff out if you're not exposed to it on a regular basis. If you are, great. Share it with other people, but if you're not, if you're feeling hopeless, seek out symptoms of the new paradigm. Seek out how people are living in communities off the grid, learning to live off the land, forming spiritual communities and just love-based that don't have to have the same belief systems. Oh my God, eco villages, ancient ancient wisdom teachers that are coming up out of the blue. There's multiple. I know Native Americans, and I know, I believe some in Australia, and I know the Toltecs with Don Miguel Ruiz and his sons and stuff. Like, there's a lot of ancient cultures that are coming up going, hey, we've been waiting for this. Like, there's this big change and everything, and we've been hiding the knowledge because you guys weren't ready for it for the last 1,000 years. So we've just been hiding it underground, passing it down generation to generation, and we have this ancient wisdom, and we're going to share it with you now. Like, this type of stuff is happening all over the planet, everywhere, and they're connecting, and these eco villages are connecting and taking, somebody from or some people from this eco village in this country and sending them over to this country to learn about what this eco village does, because they're specialists in this type of thing. They're specialists in compost systems. And then that's another thing to look into compost systems. And it's not about whether you're going to do it right now or not. It's not about that. It's about learning that this stuff is going on and having hope for the future, and that understanding on a deep level. You need to expose yourself to this to understand deeply that there is a new way of living that is being birthed here on earth now. It's happening. It's been happening for years. I mean, some of these programs have been going on since the 60s. And we have people that know how to build houses. Like, I'm looking into a workshop over here. I haven't fully decided yet, but me and a friend might go learn how to build adobe houses, out of earth bags. Like, I mean, you can build houses for, like, I mean, small ones maybe for, one room house or something for whatever, maybe $7,000. It's like, there's all these earth ships style of building. I mean, all these different styles of building. The tiny home movement, what's that? Minimalism, all that stuff. And I'm not saying go find out about these things and live them. That's your choice. What I'm saying is go expose yourself to this stuff to understand. Like, I'm not planning on becoming a minimalist, but I watched a documentary on minimalism and learned some good stuff from that, So expose ourselves to this. It's happening. It's happening on this planet, now, and it's been happening, and it's continuing to happen. And it's, like, people like, oh, what can I do? How can I do it? Like, I had an idea years ago of just buying some land. Like, you can find land in the United States anywhere, but in the United States, fairly cheap, especially if you're willing to relocate, right? And you can, like, there's lots of places that struggle with having a place for one of the problems with the tiny homes is people have trouble finding places to park them, especially near tourist areas and stuff, like down in Sarasota, Florida, where I was. It's like, you have more people want to do the mobile home. More people want to do the tiny homes that are mobile. People want to do this. Man, you can get a lot of land, put some plumbing out there. You don't even need to. Half of them have the compost situations. Maybe run some electricity, maybe not, until you make some money. Just, buy yourself, but sell your house when the market is through the freaking roof. Buy some land, pocket a few $100,000, but build your house a little home and set up for a little community, and you can make a living just having a community. I mean, it's just, we have to start thinking outside the box. And my point is that people are already doing this, and you can do it too. And we have to start embracing this now, because it's actually happening. I'm so excited because I'm really seeing this actually happening. Let's see what Michelle shared. Said, you want to screw the system, grow your own food, homeschool your children, use alternative energy. Yeah, this is what I mean. Nancy, love the tiny home movement. Yeah. Oh, and hey, Raina, thanks for joining. Um, this is what I'm talking about. Oh my God, the system is ridiculous. Okay, homeschool your child. I thought about doing it, but I was like, I couldn't. His mom had full custody up until he was 12, so I didn't really have a choice in that. But like, I mean, with everything going on, yeah, you can homeschool, use alternative energy. Like it's like everything that I try to do now. Like if I get any lights for around my house or anything, I go solar, because it's awesome. You can get, like for $15 or something. I got 4 little discs that have a solar panel in them and our lights. So like there's no wires. I've got 4 of them out front of my house, and I don't have to do anything. It doesn't use any electricity. There's no wires. It's cool that like just start understanding that we're creating a new paradigm. It's actually happening. Look into it, learn about it, see what strikes you. And you don't like it. Like I said, it's not about you implementing everything. It's okay. Just implement what you're comfortable with at the pace that you're comfortable with, but no, I want to expand hope. I want to expand our knowledge. I want us to know what's out there. Like, and we need to be aware of what's going on in the world. Everybody like, oh, wow. I didn't know I was going to talk about this or this was going to come up, but it's comical to me because everybody is sitting there going like, oh, you don't watch the news. Well, you're not a good, I don't even know what people say. I don't really pay attention when they talk like this. But people think you're supposed to watch the news so you're informed, right? So you know what's going on. They just report on horror. So like that's like going to a horror movie and being like, well, I know what's going on in the world. No, you don't. Like you just know some horror stuff that's going on in the world. Like, what about all the good that's going on in the world that doesn't make the news because they don't want you to know because it's off the grid and they don't make money? If like Michelle just said, like if you grow your own food and you take your kids out of the system and homeschool them and actually like maybe teach them stuff that they're interested in as opposed to a bunch of crap that they're not interested in that they might even be able to use in life to do things like, yeah. Take them out of the system and then watch what the system does. We don't need, what we're doing is we're participating in a rigged game. We're going into the political system. And I'm not saying that we have to stop all political pressure. Don't go extreme. We can do both. And we're not doing what I'm talking about, and we need to. So like, but we're going in, we're watching the news, not helpful. We're voting. Again, not saying that we should abandon the whole entire system right off the bat, but I mean, really we've been voting for 200 years. Let's just say the last 30, I can look at the last 30 at my age and go, has any problems been solved in the last 30 years? Not really. Little little pokes here and there, but for the most part, no problems have been solved in the last 30 years. I mean, every once in a while, we'll get a bone thrown at us, by the powers that be, and we go, see, we're making progress. No, that's really a bone. The problem is still there. So really if you don't vote, if you don't participate, all this crap, it's a load of crap. What you're doing is you're participating in a rigged game that you can't win because you have no cards. So get out of the game, create a new game, create a new paradigm. And we don't need to fight dysfunction. What we need to do is starve it. You see, everything is energy. So we're not going to win this battle by fighting against the powers that be. It's just, there's no, like, what are we going to, how would we possibly fight them? They have the military. They have the weapons. They have, what are we going to do? And that's anger, hatred, fighting. There's nothing loving in that. We're trying to create a new paradigm based in love. So we need to act out of love. We need to do loving things. We need to understand energy. We need to understand how things work. Feed what you want. And this is what I'm talking about. Feed the hope. Feed the good things that are going on in the world. Feed feed your brain knowledge about different ways of living. And I don't care if you want to actually live that way or not. That's not the point. It's expanding your mind to understand what's possible, because there is whole, I'm partially living it. I don't know what it was, but I had some major stomach cramping a few nights ago. And just one night it was extremely bad. And then the next morning, what I ended up doing was, asking my neighbor, and because everybody around here has home remedies. So I asked my neighbor, who's very familiar with this stuff, and she brought me some oregano leaves that are growing. I'm going to show you guys because I have some. I have one left. So she brought me, for those of you watching, oregano leaves like these thick ones. There's multiple kinds of oregano from what I understand. I'm not too well versed in this stuff. But an oregano leaf in some tea and some hibiscus. See that? Hibiscus dried. So I put that in, unbelievable. Majorly helped my stomach. Majorly. Literally, my stomach bothering me, and before I'm even done drinking it feeling better. It's amazing, So we have to. Hey, who's? Hey, Michelle. I see the other Michelle. I see you joined us, and then this is. Who is that on YouTube? Tysian. I have an idea who that is, but I can't see the picture. It's too small on my screen. Let me know if I know you. Thanks for joining and commenting and participating. So yeah, it's amazing living over here. The food is and the plants are medicine here. So it's like everybody knows this stuff. When you talk to people over here, it's all you take that plant, crush it up, and you put it on, and you make a tea out of this one, and you do that with this one. Everything is here. I have yet to find any physical ailment that doesn't have a plant that helps it. And it's mind-boggling to me, because we think in our world, we're not exposed to any of this, right? It's just all medicine. So we're we think how could you live in the mountains of the Dominican Republic? They don't have a pharmacy. They do have pharmacies here. They have all kinds of stuff, but I don't go to them, for the most part, because I can get natural remedies that work better. And we've forgotten this stuff, and we have to start getting back to it. We have to start working in alignment with nature. That's part of the new paradigm. We have everything that we need. If we just work with it and use our heads and don't take more than we need, this planet provide for all of us tenfold. It's just we don't do that. We hoard and we create more than we need, and then we don't give it to the people who do need it. It's absurd the way we live, So we have to, embrace this stuff and start expanding our mind. Whenever I think of expanding my mind, I think of this retreat I went on with Michael Bernard Beckwith, I don't even know, 15 years ago. No, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And he was talking about expanding your mind. And he said he used Alice in Wonderland. So I use this example a lot myself. At the end of Alice in Wonderland, she's fighting the Jabberwocky, and she's repeating the 6 impossible things that happen to her before breakfast. Why? Because her mind can't wrap wrap itself around a little girl being able to slay a Jabberwocky monster, right? So she's expanding her mind, and she's thinking about these impossible things that she's already experienced to expand her mind so she can actually wrap her brain around the concept that she might be able to win, right? So this is what we need to do. We need to expose ourselves to things that are already in existence, things that are already, that was things she already experienced, but this is things that the world is already experiencing that we don't know about. And we need to feed our brain that, feed the positive, feed what, if you want to have a different life, start feeding it, because we're getting close. Like we're actually doing it. This place is like all over the world doing this. There is, somebody, one of the pieces that tied this in for me is somebody said to me that they were talking to their daughter that was in their mid to late 20s. And their daughter was saying that, a lot of her generation won't work. They just refuse to take crappy jobs for crappy pay. And, I think a lot of people are panicking because of this. The job market is crashing. The powers that be don't care, because what's closing is the small businesses, which they want to close, because they're they're not trillionaires. So like the money funnels upward. That's just a system. It has to. So that's all they support. So like when small businesses fail, that's fine, because it's just more money for the big businesses, and the big businesses can weather anything because they've got billions and trillions of dollars. So, my workforce is struggling. Whatever, we'll automate it. We'll make it harder on the consumer. We'll pass down the price increase. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect us. Right. So that we're not going to affect them. And I mean, even if we did affect like the larger companies enough, what are they going to do? They'll just threaten bankruptcy, and the government will come in and be like, oh my God, if Walmart files bankruptcy, the blow on the economy is going to be so huge that the country will go into a tailspin, and we can't allow that. So we're going to bail them out. This is the problem with companies getting as big as they are. It's like where, that's the reality in the world in which we live. But this girl was talking about, where we're not going to take crappy jobs, and a lot of them are starting to move out of the country to places like the Dominican and other countries that have different, where you can get off grid better, and you can find different ways of working, and a lot of people can work online and live in cheaper cost of living areas like this. So people that younger generation is starting to think outside the box. And it just reminded me of that generation, which is a big part of this shift. And I think like it's kind of, I don't know how old the millennials are now, but I'm seeing it I see it pretty regularly in people like around 35, 37, 38, a different way of being than people older than that. I mean, of course there's overlap, but I mean like in a great, in a majority. So I'm saying like maybe under 40 or so, that's the generation that are more, I learned to call them like crystal children. They're just more spiritually open, as opposed to indigo children, which I think is the way I understand myself. Indigo children kind of started with the hippies and came through in the 60s and came through. We have an edge. We stand up against injustice, and yeah, we have an edge because we needed it. We needed to stand up against longstanding structures, a lot of them in place for 100,000 years or more, and stand up against that type of mentality and go, no, I'm questioning this. No, I don't want to do that. No, screw you, and push back, and we created this space, and shook up longstanding structures, like corporate America, The belief in it, not the existence of it. Government, the belief in it, not the existence of it. Organized religion, the beliefs around it, not the existence, right? So we shook the beliefs, because before, if you question any of those things, shut up, that's the way it is. And generations went like that. So we shook that stuff enough to create cracks in it so it's not so solid and standing, which made room for the new paradigm to be ushered in. Well, this new paradigm is being ushered in by the next generations. They're more spiritually open, and most people misunderstand this, man. It's beautiful to watch them. Their spirituality is so natural, it's just second nature, and they don't call it spirituality. And sometimes to us, it doesn't even look like spirituality, and because it's just so innate in them. It's just so natural. It's comical. They just, like, if you talk to younger people about the problems, they won't even have the same type of conversations that we have, because, like, we'll argue about the problem and we'll be like, oh yeah, do you believe that, the government won't do this, or corporate America is doing this, and like, and we have to change that. We have to fight against it, and we have to, and this is wrong and this is right. And they'll just sit back and just be like, that's ridiculous. You guys made a mess of the world, which of course wasn't us. It was many generations leading up to where we are. But yeah, we played a part in it. But they won't even get to the conversation about whether there's a problem or not. They're just like, of course there's a problem. Like, if you talk to a younger person, one thing that's a good test with this, if you speak with most younger people about how we treat the planet, that I don't give a crap whether you believe in global warming or whether you don't. That's not the point. The point is that we are out of alignment with nature. We just are. We take more than we need. We just pillage the planet for no apparent reason at this point. We're out of alignment with nature's laws. We're killing ourselves. We're living in ways that are unsustainable, when there's sustainable options right there. Like, we could just live differently, still have the same conveniences that we have, and be in perfect alignment with nature and have everything that we want. And we just don't. Partially because people don't understand that that's possible, and they don't, which, this is what I'm talking about. Expose yourself to it, expand the hope, right? But these young kids, if you talk to them about that, if you get into an argument over global warming or something, or if you go, I don't think we're really hurting the planet, they'll be like, of course we are. We have to do this to be better. Well, yeah, but I don't think, like, I'm not even, they won't even get into a discussion with you. They're like, yeah, we're doing stupid stuff to the planet. Of course we are. Stop it. Period. Yeah, but you don't understand. That's how life, I don't want to hear it. Stop it. That's how they are. Because they don't get wrapped up in the problem. They're just like, just live better. Use your freaking head. Don't rape the planet. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. That's how they are, and it's beautiful because it's just so matter of fact to them. And they're not spending time arguing about the problem. They're just solution. Just do something differently. There's a perfect answer right there. Just do that. Well, yeah, but you don't understand. That's not how the world works. Shut up. Just do that. Well, yeah, you haven't been on the planet long enough. You don't understand how the systems work. I don't give a crap about the system. Just do that. This is how they are. And this is how they're already starting to usher in a new way of being. Their failure to comply to the longstanding belief systems around corporate America is flipping beautiful. And we're all standing over here going, oh, they're lazy. They're so, they think they should have good pay, vacation, be able to take their kids on nice vacations and drive a decent car and own a house and not go into debt. They think they're going to have this and not go into debt. And they actually might enjoy their job. They might not be emotionally, sexually, or mentally abused on their job. and they want to work for a company that actually has principles and helps the world in some sort of way. They're out of their flipping mind. No, they're not. They're ushering in a new paradigm. That's what they're doing. So we need to stop judging them and start feeding what they want, because what they want is good. Would you like to wake up in a world 15 years from now where what these millennials want is a reality? I know I would. I would love to wake up in a world where people actually made a decent living instead of a bunch of people scratching for pennies, going into debt, making people trillionaires. It's absurd. It's absurd, the system that we have. And we're not, I understand that people get upset with the system, but instead of going after the system, they go after the kids that are trying to change it, calling them idiots. Why are they idiots? We're idiots for being in a system and allowing it to exist where we just scrape to get by our entire lives, working crap-ass jobs, being abused by bosses and all this stuff, so other people can become trillionaires. That's what that's what we do. And we're calling them idiots because they don't want to do that. Come on, Pete. Slow down and look at this stuff. They are ushering in a new paradigm. We should be behind them. Now, I'm not, just because I understand that, like, we have an intellectual aspect to our minds and we need to feed that sometimes, right? So I am a spiritual realist. I'm not sitting here blowing sunshine up your ass, expecting you to just be like, oh, hey, they have a learning curve. Every generation has a learning curve. Everything has a learning curve. So they have a learning curve too. I believe that the younger generations, and I'm going to say generations now because it's probably 2 or 3 of them that are younger than us. Like they expect all this stuff to happen, and they know so deeply that they are okay. That's why they can stand their ground, because something inside of them, we don't have this naturally. I mean, okay, I got to phrase this properly. Everybody has it within them. We have to go searching for it. They just have it innately. It's right there on the surface for them to lock into. So, what their learning curve is, they're so anchored into everything is going to be okay, and they don't need to participate in a dysfunctional system. And when we look at them and say, you're going to be living in a van down by the river for the rest of your life suffering because you're not participating in the system. When we do that, they just go, nah, I'll be all right. Or they'll go, van bound down by the river sounds nice. I'll be all right there. They don't care, right? And that's good, but their learning curve is joy. They need to learn that when they take action in the unfoldment and when they participate in the unfoldment of their own life, then what happens is they experience self-pride, they experience joy, they experience self-esteem. They start connecting to their capability and their intelligence. So, and that makes them feel good. And they start seeing what they're capable of. I mean, it's almost like a little kid learning to use their a body part or something, and they're like, oh my God, I can look, my fingers can clench things. Isn't that interesting? Oh, I like this. I can do many things with this. That's what it's like when they start participating in their life. So they're so comfortable not doing anything because they know that they're okay. Their learning curve is, getting over that hump and doing something. And then when it feeds them their pride and they start being aware of their capabilities, it's exciting and they enjoy it. And then they're like, oh, I want to do more of this, which is wonderful. I see it with my son. I see it with lots of other kids. Like, once they start participating in their own life and see what they're capable of, It's really fun and exciting. And that's, so that's their learning curve. And, and I think honestly, I'll say this briefly, video games, we got to watch out for them. It's not that video games are all bad. It's just that too much of them, that they don't experience boredom, is how I usually phrase it. And they don't look, it's hard to get them to move because they're like, no, I'm fine here. And they could literally sit in a cellar playing video games for 30 years and never really experience boredom, never realize that they might actually enjoy life more if they went and did something. Like there is that aspect of it. So like we got to kind of watch that, that's the stuff that we have to watch. But I mean, what we're feeding is a new paradigm ushering in. It's literally a new way of being based in self-love and based in not playing this game with this ridiculous system out here. So we don't have to fight the system. We need to feed the new paradigm and create that new one, so we need to feed this stuff. So let me see. I'm going to check out some of the comments. Sue, that is so true. I see that in my 24-year-old niece and 17-year-old nephew. I love watching them grow and becoming a better version. It gives me hope for the future, but also a tad jealous that attitude wasn't in fashion while I was growing up. Maybe I wouldn't have felt such an outcast if it had been. Well, it's spilt milk. It's here now. And I mean, that's what's so beautiful about it. It's like, we have to gain perspective, and this just reminded me of it. And, of course, Sue, this applies to many things, not just what you said, but like, we have to keep taking steps back to gain perspective. And it's like, what is going on here? Listen to what I'm saying. Like, basically, somewhere around 1960, we started ushering in a new way of being on the planet. Like, what does that look like? Well, it's, over you could say billions of years that the planet's been here. You could say a couple 100,000 years that Homo sapiens been here. You could say about 100,000 years that Homo sapiens have been here. So like, I mean, whatever, it's a big deal. For us to be alive right now is a big freaking deal. Because, think about it from a grand perspective. Let's say you're on the other side in eternity and you're like, oh no, do you want to incarnate on Earth? Oh well, what's going on down there? Well, they're ushering in an entire new way of being. Like they're trying to anyway. Be like, what? Like, finally? Oh yeah, hundreds of thousands of years, maybe billions if you're talking about the evolution of the whole planet. And yeah, they're finally at the point where they're ushering in a new way of being because their old way doesn't work. Like, really? Globally, the whole thing. Like, yeah, it's like kind of the point of the whole experiment down there on Earth. It's finally culminating. Oh, well, holy crap. Yeah, I want to be a part of that. So just to be here, like in this time frame or even a section of it is a big deal. It needed us. And it's like, we needed outcasts just by being an outcast, right? This might help some people. Just by being an outcast and not drinking the Kool-Aid of society is helpful because your energy is different. So just the sheer fact that you're sitting there feeling like an outcast going, I'm not like the rest of the people. I'm not like the rest of the people. I don't think I'll ever be like the rest of the people. I understand that that's comfortable personally, but collectively that's an asset because it's not feeding the system because everything is energy. So when people drink the Kool-Aid and buy into the system and go, that's just how life is, that's feeding into the system. It's feeding energy to the dysfunction that's already happening. Standing on the outside or even being part of the system because you got to make a living. I get it. Even being part of it, but not drinking the Kool-Aid going, no, there's got to be a better way. That's an asset. You're feeding energy. This is a good thing, so being 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 an outcast is a good thing energetically. Okay. Let's see. I got to know how to, let me know how to say your name. Tycian 03. I love the millennial Gen Z mentality. They're saying, heck no to you and your abusive mindsets. Both abundance and peace are my birthrights. I am getting what is owed to me respectfully. Bingo. Beautifully said. That's exactly what's happening. And and like I was saying, we don't have to fight. We have to starve it, right? And look at what they're doing, okay? Because like what you said, both abundance and peace are my birthrights. I am getting what is owed to me respectfully. They're just going, no. They're not fighting. They're not going, screw you. You're a jerk and this isn't fair. No, they're just going, no. Not happening. I'm not participating in it. No. Why? Why spend the next 40 years of my life struggling, fighting, making somebody else a millionaire while my needs aren't met? Why? I don't understand why you people thought this was a good idea. So no. And it just no. What is that? What is that energy? It sounds familiar. Resistance? Just non-going with the flow? Boy, it reminds me of previous social change. It reminds me of Gandhi. You have to walk around with this card. You're an Indian in an India country, and you have to walk around with a card. But the people who are of UK descent, since we control you, we don't have to carry these cards. You need an identification card. And what did Gandhi do? Burned it. No. He didn't fight. He just said no. No. Non-resistance? No. Just no. I'm just not doing that. And then, like, my favorite part of the Gandhi movie, and I don't know if this is true historically, but probably my favorite part was when he was in the office. I think he was in the office of some of the big wigs, and they're going, "What do you want? What do you want?" And he's like, "Want you to leave." And they're like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." And he said, "Oh yeah, you guys will leave. You guys will leave, and you'll leave of your own accord. You'll just decide to leave on your own accord one day." And they're like, "What are you talking about? Why would we do that? We're in control. We run the country. Why would we just leave?" It's like, because you can't control us. That's why. You can't control. What's the point in owning a country that you can't control? There's no point in it, which is really deep if you really think about that. Think about that sentence for a little while. I'm not going to go into it too deeply, but think about that. What's the point of running a country, having a country that's under your control if you can't control it? And is that true? It's actually more true than we realize if we slow down and think about it. How do we know that there's actually truth in that statement? Is because England left. When they couldn't control them. Why be in a country and say it's yours if you have no control over what transpires within it? There's no point to it. You might as well just leave. And they do. They did. I love that. So these kids are ushering this in. They know, and they're not, that what they want to do is they want to, like I said, pay attention to the things that I said. A lot of you are going, yes, that resonates. Yes, I've seen that. Yes. So it's like, so take that into consideration and then understand what they're starving and what they're feeding, right? So far from what I've said that you guys have been agreeing with is they're starving the old way. Right? So they're not fighting against it. They're starving it. No, not participating in it. Starving it of energy. Therefore, it dies. Right? And they're working on expanding the solutions, like I was talking about with when you talk to them about global issues, like raping the planet, and they're just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. And it's just matter of fact. That's them just feeding the solution. So they're feeding what they want and they're starving what they don't. They don't have that edge that we have. It's not all about fighting. It's just because they're more spiritual than we are. They're more. This is, I told somebody this, I think earlier today. I don't listen to Abraham Hicks all the time, but I do listen to Abraham Hicks sometimes. And boy, they have some beautiful nuggets out there of straightforward, loving information. And one of the things that I heard years ago that I always remember is about this, and it's about the younger generations. And it says, if the younger generations could speak like spiritually and explain themselves to us, which of course a lot of people here on earth are disconnected from spiritual clarity, and it's a lot to ask from them. Most kids are not going to be able to say this to you. But from a spiritual perspective, what they would verbalize if they could is basically like this. Hey, older generations, thank you. You guys did a great job. Thanks for breaking up all the structured systems and loosening that all up and everything and bringing us into this earth. And this is cool. We really appreciate all the work you've done, but we've got it from here. We've got it from here because where we're going, you guys can't really fully grasp. So thank you for what you've done. We'll take it from here. And I believe that there's a lot of truth in that, because they are so spiritual and so grounded and so connected that they don't even understand people that aren't. So when we're sitting there going like, I've been working on my spirituality for 18 years and I'm getting better, they're like, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't get it. They're not interested. But if you pay attention to how they interact with life, it's very spiritual. It's just their innate way of being. They don't need to do all the work. They don't need to overcome all the years of conditioning and socialization that we've been put through that we're trying to undo. They just come in free. Yeah, I'm just going to do this. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. Let's see, Sue. Yes, that's it, Nancy. Absolutely love. Feed the positive, starve the dysfunction. That's it. Everything. This is why I use the terms of energy so much. It simplifies everything. Everything is like this. This is universal law. This is how the universe runs. It's energy. If you do not want a plant in your life, starve it of energy. What does a plant use for energy? It uses sun. It uses water. Just deny it sun and water. You don't have to fight a plant to get it to die. If you don't want it in your life, just starve it of energy and it will die all on its own because it doesn't have any energy to keep it going. If you don't want a dog in your life, I don't recommend doing this. It's just an example. Don't feed it. It will either run away or die, but it ain't going to be in your life at some point. Why? Because it has no energy. It needs everything requires energy. Social change requires energy. Everything is energy. And you don't have to understand it like as far as how it works in order to use it. Like you don't understand how electricity works. Most people don't understand how electricity works as far as how it gets into our house, what happens when you flip a light switch and all the understanding. They don't understand it, but we use it every day. Most people don't understand how the car works, but they use it every day. So we don't have to understand it from a dynamic perspective, to understand. It's just conceptually, you have to understand it. Everything is energy. Well, I don't get how social change is energy. I don't care. Try it. Just try it. Like if you're doing the right thing, it's going to feel right. It's going to feel good. You're going to get good results. So just try it. If there's anything in your life that you don't want, just starve it and watch it go. If there's anything that you do want in your life, put attention to it. A lot of times people go, yeah, you have to work real hard to make money. No, you don't. But let's say the reason that some people, it's actually worked for some people is because they believe it. So all this time they're working hard, they're working hard, they're working hard. Does that actually make money? No, there's tons of people that work really hard that never make money. In fact, the people that work the hardest have the least money. So that's not true. However, in put in the right situation, like let's say in business, and they go, yeah, I'm gonna start my own business and I'm gonna build it and I'm gonna work and eventually I'm gonna make all this money and I'm gonna do that. Yeah. And then they do that and everybody thinks it's the action that they took that made it expand. And it's not, it's their belief. The action didn't do it. The belief did it. Their action was an expression of their belief. So as they were taking the action, they go, oh, I must be making more money. Why? Because I'm doing all the things that are required to make more money. So therefore I will have it. And then they do. It's like, hey, miracle. Oh, it's just a belief. It's not because of the action. It's because of the energy. So let's see, Sue. It's funny you said that. I said to my mom just today, there must be more to life than this. Everyone in my generation or older just seems happy to be unhappy, angry, and argue all the time. It got too much for me today where I just broke down in tears with my mom. Again, you've helped me with this podcast. Thank you. Well, you're very welcome. Yeah, it's, we are right now, we're in this big transition. And before, so, this might help on understanding things on this level, because I'm actually glad you said that. Up until like around 1960, everything was done through control and structure, organized systems, class systems. You were the religion that your parents were. You a lot of times stayed in the same class that your parents were. You did the same jobs that your parents did. If you couldn't question anything, it was just you do it because I said so type mentality. And then in the 60s, we start breaking out of that, right? So we're coming out of that, and so we're like the middle ones, like we're right in the middle, and we are the biggest. We are the biggest complainers, our generation, because we don't like the problem, but we're not in the solution yet. So we're right in the middle. We're the victims. We're the victim mentality generation, which I hate victim mentality, and I hate to say it, but it's true. And if you look at, I'll use this to explain my point a little further. Michael Bernard Beckwith has these like stages. I'm not going to try to look it up on my phone now, but he has these 4 stages of spiritual development. And basically the first stage is coming out of the victim mentality. So this is what we need to do as a society. We need to come out of the victim mentality. Oh, that's just how life is. Oh, this isn't, my boss was a jerk to me. And I can't do anything. We have so much more power. The people that I know that have walked around setting boundaries, their life has always gotten better. And sometimes it looks like with me, I've stood up, I've told this story many times and there's other similar ones, but this is the best one of how every job I had after I woke up, my boss said, there's a mandatory meeting at the time that I was supposed to spend time with my son. And I just said, no, I'm not going to the mandatory meeting. If you need to fire me, and they never fired me. And there's other things like that. People just standing up going, no. Like if you want to fire me over this, like I put in for my vacation 3 months ago. Well, we didn't see it. And it's going to throw our company off if you're not there because we didn't plan on it. Oh, well, it's too bad. I need a vacation. That's why you guys give me vacation time, is so I can recoup. It's important for my mental health and my personal health. So I'm taking my vacation. I put in, it was approved. Just because you guys forgot about it and didn't plan for it, that's not my problem. I'm taking it, whether you like it, whether you don't. And if you want to lose me as a worker because of that, that's cool. And then they don't get fired. Like this is how the new paradigm is coming in. You guys can do more of this stuff. I'm a spiritual realist. I understand a lot of times you need to think twice before you just risk your job. I get it. So maybe that's not where you start, but I'm saying we have to start contemplating some of this stuff. And some of you need to start doing it even on that level. I did it. This other person I was talking about did it. I know lots of people that are doing it. especially now with the workforce. They're freaking out. They can't get people to work. They're not going to fire you over taking a vacation for the vacation that is due you. You're not even doing anything wrong, and they're going to fire you over it? Highly unlikely. We have to start understanding this. Like I said, start understanding it. Start implementing it. Start thinking about it. Start realizing this is where we're going. And I know people that have gotten fired for standing up for themselves. And you know what? They got a better job. Why? Because the universe can't punish you for self-love. That's not the system. It's not how the system works. The system is rigged for us to win. The system is rigged for us to live in alignment with nature and with ourselves, and to be loving people. That's how it is. So the universe can't punish us. Like, people judge too quickly. Like, you go out, like, let's say your boss is abusing you, and you stand up and you go, or let's just keep it simple with the vacation thing or a meeting thing. You go, well, no, I'm not going. This is, you have no right to get me to go, and this is off my time, and I'm going. And then they fire you. Most people run around going, oh, see, we're the victim mentality people. Oh my God, I got fired. This is so unfair. See, Glenn was talking about this on a podcast, and I stood up for myself and I'm fired. Now my life is horrible. I can't pay my bills, and my whole life, blah, 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 blah. I'm a victim. And meanwhile, there's 3 job opportunities that are twice as good as the one that you just lost, and you don't see them because you're busy being a victim. This is how the system works. I'm telling you, and I'm not telling you to go do stupid stuff where that you might lose your job. I mean, personally, what I recommend with people that I coach is to, if you're unhappy at your job, to set small boundaries and to start looking for other jobs if you're unhappy there. And I like smooth transitions. I've experienced gigantic transitions in my life, and sometimes they're really painful and scary. And I like to learn my lessons easy. So I teach people to learn their lessons easy, gradually. Make your changes gradually. You don't have to jump ship just to make a change in your life. There's middle ground. There's a whole bunch of gray. There's all kinds of ways to do this without threatening your livelihood. So keep that in mind. Think outside the box. Get out of that victim mentality. Stop going, I have to be abused or else I can't pay my bills for the next 40 years. Period. No, that's not true. There's many ways out. I don't like my job, but that's life. No, it's not. It is because you think it is. That's it. So start ushering in this new way of being. And we have to get out of that. We have to get out of that victim mentality so we can start using these spiritual principles to usher in this new paradigm, stabilize our earthly structures, and then really start living from a place of love and giving and supporting one another. That's kind of how it works, in an oversimplified way, which simple is good. Let's see what Jenny's got to say. Yeah, nobody wants to work. They are desperate. We have such high turnover at my job. They created a position for me, onboarding coordinator, because they can't keep asses in the seats. Yeah, this is what I mean. And everybody's looking at this like this is horrible. No, it's good. It's good. This is a good thing because the old way of doing things sucked. So anything that's new, that's a good thing. They're demanding, what are they being forced to do? Treat workers better. This is a good thing. Back in the day when we were in the office, the boss would abuse. Not anymore. Things have changed, in my opinion. Maybe not for all, but in the IT industry, they have gone mostly remote. Thank God. Yeah, I'm telling you, we have to start looking at this stuff for what it is. I mean, I've talked about the spiritual shift many times, but I've never done a podcast like this where I've been like, dudes, look, we're finally at that point to me, where this is the first time, you know, and I've done similar talks where I'm like, no, it's happening. No, it's happening. Really, look. But like I'm telling you, energetically, we've just shifted. Maybe it was just like a week or two ago. Like I'm telling you, I'm feeling this strong just now. Like we turned this corner where like it's time now. It's time. Welcome. All this stuff's been going on. It's nothing new, but it got to the point where energetically it's enough for us to, that all the normal people that aren't like involved in it yet, maybe, it's time for us to start going, okay, my life is my laboratory. I mean, really, what do I have to lose? You know, like most people are in debt. Like seriously, you know, so like in debt, and most people work really hard. So most people work really hard and they're in debt. So like, what's your risk? Like, what are you risking? Most people work hard. They're in debt. They don't like their job. They're abused by their bosses. They don't have vacation or the things that they want. Like they don't like their life. They're unhappy. Like what are you fighting so hard to hold on to? Like you don't really have anything that's worth keeping. You kind of don't. Not, you know, not to be a jerk about it, but you know, like I picked up and moved to the DR and people think I'm crazy. Like why? Like what was I doing? What was I doing in the United States that was so wonderful? Nothing. Scraping to get by. I was paying, I don't even know how, just bills. Well, I mean, I'm in a unique situation over here. So let's just say when I first moved over, the first place that I lived in, beautiful 3-bedroom house, private backyard for the dog, pool in the front. There was 4 other houses within this walled in area, but I had my own house. 7-minute walk to the beach, gated community, 3-4 restaurants on the property, security guards all over the place, beautiful, gorgeous, just absolutely beautiful. And my bills were cut, I would say it's safe to say, in half, if not more. You know, I mean, like it's, and I can fly back, you know, like this year I'll see my family twice. When I moved to Florida, that was kind of all I was seeing them anyway. You know, I mean, I understand that most families see, you know, I'm not saying this is for everybody. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, you got grandkids you want to be near, or, you know, like if you got reasons to stay. Like you can do this stuff in the United States too. But you have to look for ways. You know, what I'm saying is, what are you protecting? What are you working so hard for? You know, and are you getting it? Like start looking at that, or just, you know, maybe you want to stay working the way you're working, and financially you thought it out and you actually are getting somewhere. Okay, cool. But are you happy? Are there adjustments that you can make towards your happiness, like enjoying your job more? Maybe paying down your bills, or getting a smaller house, you know, so you don't have to work so hard, or so that you can bank more and have a better retirement or something. Like we have to start thinking of different ways of doing things, is my point. Hey, Judith, thanks for tuning in. Well, yeah, you're in Florida, if I remember right. How do you make a living there doing this? This is my job. Not just the podcast, of course. This is how my business is fed, but it's I do life coaching, spiritual teaching. Yeah, you're in Sarasota, where I was. So yeah, I do spiritual teaching, life coaching that's fed by this podcast. So I work with people all over the world. You know, I've had clients in Guatemala, in the UK, Canada, France, all over. They're not coming to me. All over the place. Hey, Joanne from Wisconsin, Packer County, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Frio, chilly up there. Thank you for tuning in. How would someone do a living there, not online? Well, of course, I won't go into it too much. I'll just give you a quick answer. I mean, you can reach out if you want to find out more. And down under, Australia, Susan, thank you. Yes, there was more, and they weren't coming to me. I have clients in Australia. Actually, I have a good following in Australia and the UK, big followings. So someone do a living here, not online. That's tricky, honest. I mean, there's ways of doing it, but it's tricky. Moving to a country such as this, there are not as many opportunities as there are in the United States. So you have to have a game plan moving over to a country like this. And, so you might have to start a business, incorporate the locals into it is usually the best way to start a business, really enhance your area. And then, you do well out of that too. So that, but yeah, I mean, working online is huge. If you can do it, it's huge because you can live anywhere. I'm in the mountains. I need internet, man. That's it. So, and I can make United States money and live in an infrastructure of the Dominican Republic. It's a really good situation financially. So it's huge. But it's about thinking outside the box. I'll probably wrap up with this. I was a lot of people, they're so tied to society's way of doing things, right? Because it's all that they've been exposed to. So lots of people own houses right now. The house, like I said, like you guys, before I say this, there's more to it, so of course you need to look into it and stuff. And perhaps talking to a life coach would help navigate all this stuff. Just because I throw out these ideas doesn't mean that they're right for you. You have to think them through and do what's right for you in a way that's right for you. Okay. So, but I'm just throwing out vague ideas to try to expand the mind. So a vague idea is lots of people own homes. The housing market is through the roof. Lots of people have owned these homes for maybe several years, maybe even not. Maybe they've just recently bought them, 5 years ago or 4 years ago or something, before the housing market shot up, right? Is what I'm trying to say. So lots of people could make $50,000, $100,000, $400,000 off the sale of their house right now. You could start an online business. You could move over to the DR and live for, oh my God. I mean, if you're single, you could probably live on $20,000 a year over here. But let's just say, there's a few of you want to live well, whatever. Let's just say you want to spend $50,000 a year to live. You could live $50,000 a year for 2 years. That's $100,000. You could live over here for $100,000 for 2 years and spend 2 years building a business. Done. You might even be able to do that in the United States somewhere, maybe with a tiny house, renting on a little piece of land. Take $100,000, pocket $100,000, $200,000 as your nest egg. Take $100,000, take 2 years off of work and spend that time building your own business. I mean, this is we can literally do this stuff now. We got to start expanding our mind to possibilities. There is so much hope. And you guys, please go watch The Time of the Sixth Sun. I've mentioned this over and over and over and over and over again. And it's because it's wonderful for hope. it gives you an idea of all the different projects that are going on globally. It gives you an idea of the spiritual awakening that's happening. And it's really good stuff, and it's free to stream. If you like it, after you're done streaming, support it. I don't usually say this part, but they used to be making small amounts of money when they first started this, streaming this for free years ago. And for, I believe, years now, they haven't made any money. So they're streaming other things, and they're sending mass emails out because they have a decent sized following to try to make some money to stay afloat so they can put this information out there. I think I bought the whole thing. It's like 8 recordings that you can stream for free, one every 24 hours. So you get like 8 days in a row. And it really builds your hope getting an 8-day dose like that right in a row. I never watched stuff like that. And I never thought I would watch it 8 days in a row. And I did. And at those 8 days, I was like, this was really good getting this food in on a consistent basis. So support that. You know, if I think I paid $65 or something for the whole thing. If you like it, support that work so they can continue doing it. So it's called The Time of the Sixth Sun, like the number 6. The Time of the Sixth Sun, and you can just Google it and you can stream it for free. Like I said, you know, just stream it for free, just to expand your mind. And then if you can afford it and you have the money, either make a donation to them for $5 or buy the program or something. You know, like I said, I don't usually say that about anything, but I thought I should because of an email I got recently that they really are struggling. So, but it really it talks about Earthship building, and I'm like, oh my God, that's how people actually live like that. That's beautiful. I like that. And oh my God, that's so cool. Like, you know, it really expands your mind. So I highly recommend watching that. Feed this stuff. Like I said in the beginning, search like for projects going on. You know, it's there's okay, I gotta say that. I'll try to say this quick. I gotta wrap it up soon. But I watched this show on what's his name? Oh my God, I just drew a blank. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to go that route because it's not coming to me. And that's weird. So I'm not supposed to tell this part. So I'm not going to. What I will tell you is that I watched this other show on that I streamed, and it was the Arquette family. You know, the actors, David Arquette and Rosanna Arquette, and I think there's another one. And they went to Haiti over here, and they created a poop in the loop system. So what they do is they get compostable toilets. I think that you can make them for like $14 or something. And then they take so it's cheap. And then they take the poop and they put it in a big pile, and they sprinkle something on it, sawdust or something, whatever. And it doesn't smell. It's no problem. And they let it sit there for a while, and then they put it in the ground and they grow food where they weren't able to grow food before, right there. And it's a loop. Keep the poop in the loop. Because and I should say, why did they do this? They did this because all the feces and the urine was getting into the drinking water and contaminating it. So, which is a problem in a lot of areas. So what they're doing is they're creating these compostable toilets, which keeps the water clean. So then that doesn't happen, right? So that helps the people and the kids from getting diarrhea and dying of you know, dehydration and stuff, because they literally die from dehydration from diarrhea. So this solves that problem, and then it also allows them to grow food. So it's a full circle solution. Do you see? These solutions are out there, people. These solutions are out there. And I'm not saying go get a compostable toilet. I'm saying expand your mind and understand that this stuff is possible. And there's other ways to live, and there's other ways of doing things. You know, it's very interesting that like, you know, all these people say that they want to help the world, and we send hundreds of millions of dollars to these poor countries that can't feed themselves, right? Hundreds of millions of dollars. We just raise money and buy food that's probably outdated or something, and we send it over to them. And it's this whole system that we created to make ourselves feel better that never solves the problem, right? Meanwhile, the Arquettes, and I mean, I'm sure they're wonderful people, but I just get a kick out of it being a family of actors, like instead of these scientists or these, like, it's them going, hey man, keep the poop in the loop. Yeah, it's simple. It's just normal people that are finding solutions and implementing them and doing good in this world. So I think it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I think I was going to say something else about that, but whatever. So we're at that stage. Start expanding our minds about this stuff. Start feeding this stuff. Start feeding, and you'll watch your hope expand. And you're going to start seeing this is not a pie in the sky thing that's happening. This is not some blowing smoke up your ass BS game. This is, I was going to the movies years ago, like, I don't know, within the last 5 years. And there was 7 movies out of 12 that had a spiritual message in it. Are you kidding me? The Celestine Prophecy is one book that became a bestseller without going on a major media tour. There are others as well. Like, spirituality is rising dramatically just in the spirituality formula. Plus, all the different ways of living is expanding dramatically right now, that with these communities and stuff. The new generations, the younger generations, with their new way of interacting is expanding and changing our workforce. All the destruction that you see is the old paradigm falling apart. It's falling apart. It no longer works. So instead of looking at these systems falling apart, getting all fearful and worried and upset, oh my God, look at all this. Oh, it's tragedy. Oh, it's falling apart. Wait, what's falling apart? A system that doesn't work. Oh, good? Yes, good. Okay, so don't worry about the system that's falling apart. It was broken and messed up, and it didn't serve you anyway. So worry about feeding the new system. Look at the new stuff that's coming up. And don't worry about that stuff. Starve it. Whatever. Don't play their game. Don't feed into their game. Feed your stuff. Feed the new. And it's at that point where I'm telling you, I promise you, if you put your attention on this and you start really driving your attention and really researching this stuff, and I'm not talking like 30 hours. I'm talking like, watch, Google and stream one show about something good a week. I don't care. I mean, if you want to do more than that, great. But listen to podcasts like this. You're spending your time doing stuff. Make it productive. Make it have something to do with the new way of living that's happier. That's all. Just put energy towards your own happiness. I don't need you to change the world. All I need you to do is change you. All I need you to do is to become one more outcast with good energy, because we don't believe in the system and we're creating a new one. That's it. Energetically. You don't even have to take any action. I mean, I think you will once you start looking at it and understand all the possibilities and the options that you have, and that the world is going this direction anyway. Like, if you're listening to this, you can be on the front lines of this, because all the naysayers, they're going to come too, eventually, but it's going to be a while. And you know what they're going to be doing until they hop on board? Suffering. Because that's what the other side is. It's suffering. This is what I'm saying. Like, why not jump into my way of thinking? Why not? Where's the drawback? I'm not asking you to flush your money down the toilet or to abandon your job right now or to do anything crazy like that has all these horrible consequences that you think. I'm not saying that that's what you need to do. I'm saying just start feeding a new way of being. Start feeding it something that makes you feel happier and more empowered and hopeful for a wonderful future. Just start feeding that. Why not? Well, no, I have to be real. This is the only argument I've ever heard. Well, it's not realistic. Like, oh, so for me to be real, I don't really give a crap if I'm realistic or not, quite honestly. I mean, I think I'm realistic because I consider myself a spiritual realist. So I don't bypass any reality that's going on. I know exactly what's going on in this world. That's why I can talk about it. And I don't watch the news, and I still know, so like the only argument I've ever heard is because. You go, why do I need to watch news? Well, because so you need to know what's going on. Why? Well, so you know. Well, why do I need to know? Well, so because you need to know what's going on. I mean, if you don't know what's going on, like then what? Like what if something bad happens? I've been watching news for 18 years. All kinds of bad stuff happens. I'm okay. I think I'm happier and doing a better job than people that are watching news all the time, getting dragged down by it. My question is, why is getting dragged down by the news? Why is getting dragged down by paying attention to all the negativity that's going on in the world, all the destruction, and acting like it's a bad thing? Why is getting dragged down like that my responsibility as a human being? How does that better the world in any way? It doesn't. Me being happier, I could see how it benefits the world. So I'm going to focus on that. It doesn't make me responsible if I'm miserable. So there you go. There you go. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening, watching, participating. Tons of participation today. I appreciate that. Big time. So, all right. Thank you. Do what you can. Reach out if I can be of service. And I think that's it. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Looking for more? Check out over 200 episodes of Life Lessons and Laughter, or click the link in the description of this episode to connect with Glenn directly.